United States Army ramps up activity.
The White House issued warnings to the Western forces as well as the Florida Alliance.
The three-term president assures the uprising will be dealt with swiftly.
Let me know if you want to try anything.
I guess aware there's like a pretty huge civil war going on all across America.
We just try to stay out. With what we see on the news, seems like it's for the best.
Citizens of America, the so-called Western forces of Texas and California have suffered a very great defeat at the hands of the United States military.
Mr. President, do you regret the use of airstrikes against American citizens?
When people lock their doors, hide inside.
We're moving to D.C. today.
Rumor has it it's the end of paradise. But I know if the world just passed us by, baby, I know I wouldn't have to cry, no, no. But let's stop time. I went time alone. Some rain, some shine. We'll make this a better for you. Our memories of yesterday will last a lifetime. We'll take the best, forget the rest, and someday we'll find.
The last thing the power establishment wants is a conscious, informed public capable of critical thinking. It is in their interest to keep you in a distracted, naive bubble, and they are doing a damn good job of it. This is Aaron Russo, a filmmaker and former politician. To his left is Nicholas Rockefeller of the Council on Foreign Relations. After maintaining a close friendship with Nicholas, Aaron eventually ended the relationship, appalled by what he had learned.
I got a call one day from an attorney woman I knew, and she said, would you like to meet one of the Rockefellers? I said, sure, I'd love to. And we became friends, and he began to divulge a lot of things to me. So he said to me one night, he said that there's going to be an event there, and out of that event, you're going to see, we're going to go into Afghanistan, so we can run pipelines from the Caspian Sea, we're going to go into Iraq to take the oil and establish a base in the Middle East, and we're going to go into Venezuela and try and get rid of Chavez. And the first two they've accomplished, Chavez they didn't accomplish, and he said you're going to see guys going into caves looking for looking for people that they're never going to find. You know, he's laughing about the fact that you have this war on terror. There's no real enemy. He's talking about how by having this war on terror, you can never win it because it's an eternal war, and so you can always keep taking people's liberties away. And I said, how are you going to convince people that this war is real? He said, but the media can convince everybody it's real. I mean, you know, it's just that you keep talking about things, you keep saying it over and over and over again, and eventually people believe it. You know, you created the Federal Reserve in 1913 through lies. You create 9/11, which is another lie. Through 9/11, you're fighting a war on terror, and now all of a sudden you go into Iraq, which was another lie, and now they're going to do Iran. You know, and it's all one thing leading to another, leading to another, leading to another. Now, I would say to them, what are you doing this for? What's the point of this thing? You have all the money in the world you ever want. You have all the power. I said, you know, you're hurting people. It's not a good thing. And he would say, what do you care about the people for? Take care of yourself and you take care of your family. And then I said to him, what are the ultimate goals here? He said, the ultimate goal is to get everybody in this world chipped with the RFID chip. And have all money be on those chips and everything on those chips. And if anybody wants to protest what we do or violate what we want, we just turn off their chip.
So how far will the sickness of power go? To what lengths will those in control go in order to maintain and preserve their positions?
Someone tweeted at me, why are you so weak and bad at sports? Now, does this guy actually believe it? I doubt it. He just thought it would get me angry. But what it actually was a fastball down the middle. And so I just excerpted his tweet and said, well, of course, Jews don't really participate in athletics. That's what we use to divert the energy of the Gentiles while we take over the systems of power. That's what we use to divert the energy of the Gentiles while we take over the systems of power. That's what we use to divert the energy of the Gentiles while we take over the systems of power. That's what we use to divert the energy of the Gentiles while we take over the systems of power.
Just stop your crying, it's a sign of the times. Welcome to the final show. I hope you're wearing your best clothes. You can't bribe the door on your way to the sky. You look pretty good down here, but you ain't really good. We never learned, we've been here before. Why are we always stuck and running from the bullets? The bullets. We never learned, we've been here before. Why are we always stuck and running from your bullets? The bullets. Crying, it's a sign of the times. We gotta get away from here. We gotta get away from here. Just stop your crying, it'll be alright. They told me that the end is near. We gotta get away from here. Just stop your crying, have the time of your life. Breaking through the atmosphere, and things are pretty good from here. Remember, everything will be alright. We could meet again somewhere, somewhere far away from here. We never learned, we've been here before. Why are we always stuck and running from the bullets? The bullets. We never learned, we've been here before. Why are we always stuck and running from the bullets?
have crashed craft, stated earlier. Do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries, yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
And was this documentary evidence, this video, photos, eyewitness? Like, how would that be determined?
The specific documentation I would have to talk to you in a skiff about.
At one point you had said that there has been harmful activity or aggressive activity. Has any of the activity been aggressive, been hostile in your reports?
I know of multiple colleagues of mine that got physically injured. And the activity, and I got
by UAPs or by people within the federal government?
Both.
Okay,
yeah.
So there has been activity by alien or non-human technology and or beings that has caused harm to humans.
I can't get into the specifics in an open environment, but at least the activity that I personally witnessed, and I have to be very careful here because they tell you never to acknowledge tradecraft, right? So what I personally witnessed myself and my wife was very disturbing.
Along with Brent and Apollo Asteria, we're going over videos. Take a look at this.
Nadie entiende qué es lo que hay ahí. Gente literal no. Hay algo muy extraño. Uy, para, está cayendo, ¿Qué demonios? O sea, siempre dicen que tipo los ovnis aparecen en Estados Unidos y es como una burla, pero esto está cayendo.
Why, Jay? What the heck? Why, Jay? What the hell? Apa itu, Cok? Tuh putar-putar loh. Putar biar dicahaya. Putar-putar.
The big difference with a year ago, I would say, Terry, is that there's a lot of things that have happened in the armed forces and in the defense organizations. What hasn't happened is in our societies the understanding that it is more than the military that has to be able to operate in a conflict or in a war. It is the whole of society that will get involved, whether we like it or not. That realization, we didn't talk about that much a year ago. If you look back to last year, what has happened in our alliance with regard to the battle groups that we set up, if you look back to the training, the fact that we now have Steadfast Defender with 90,000 troops, that is a record number. That is a record number of troops that we can bring to bear and have an exercise with in that size. Across the alliance, across the ocean, from the US to Europe, in Europe. That is a big change.
AFP and then at the back.
Thanks a lot. I guess for Admiral Bauer, for General Cavoli.
People find it a surprise and as a result buy a radio on batteries. That is great. It is part of the package that the Swedish government is talking about. You need to have water, you need to have a radio on batteries, and you need to have a flashlight on batteries to make sure that you can survive the first 36 hours. Things like that. That's simple things. But it starts there. The realization that not everything is plannable, not everything is going to be honky-dory in the next 20 years. I'm not saying it is going wrong tomorrow, but we have to realize it's not a given that we are in peace.
What's going on, everybody? Some information that I just want to pass along, give to you guys about FEMA, because a lot of people don't understand how FEMA operates. So FEMA provides training for things that they see on the near future. They used predictive modeling, threat assessment, following trends to look at possible scenarios that might be coming up. This year, the first 3 scenarios that they're offering to emergency managers like myself in these virtual tabletop exercises is infrastructure blackouts, social unrest, and mass casualty, mass shooter incidents specifically focused around malls. So, given that information, I would highly recommend you to think about your planning processes, your systems, and how you're just going to conduct yourself in terms of one of those 3 or more occurring in your daily life. Something to think about, something to keep in mind when you see FEMA putting information out. Hope this helps.
Chipped by the government, not potato chip. I mean, like implanted chip. Have you ever gotten surgery in the United States?
Yes, I have.
Do you mind if I just check you out with my chip detector?
Please.
I'm sure this doctor was fantastic, but sometimes you'll get a chip that's implanted. Sometimes the doctor is under the control of the government. So far, so good. If it does detect a chip, what it does is it sucks a little bit of power from that chip in order to kind of make the light blink just the smallest amount. Oh.
Oh, my.
I felt something there. Hold on.
So much for us having our freedom, huh?
Yeah, we never had our freedom. This might appear to be intrusive, but it is entirely painless. You should be able to get a clean removal right there.
Whoa. Yeah, I see it.
No pain?
Not really.
Oh, there we go. Release. None of that. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Hold out your hand. Check that puppy out.
Well, I'm not having surgery again anytime soon.
Does it say something on it? Sometimes they say things.
Grand Junction, Colorado.
Does it say that?
Yeah, that's where I had surgery.
Son of a bitch.
Hold on a second. How that chip got in me, though?
Advancing very fast. But can you imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our brains, and I can immediately feel, because you all will have implants, and we measure your brain waves, and I can immediately tell you how the people react, or I can feel how the people react to your answers. Is it imaginable?
I think that is imaginable. I think I think, you know, you can imagine that. You can imagine, well, you're going to be sort of transplanted into, you know, the internet, so to speak, to live forever in a digital realm. You know, you can imagine that, you know, you just in your biological incarnation are going to live to be some, you know, very long age.
And digital technologies mainly have an analytical power. Now we go into a predictive power, and we have seen the first examples, and your company very much involved into it. But then the next step could be to go into a prescriptive mode, which means you do not even have to have elections anymore, because you can already predict, and afterwards you can say, why do we need elections? Because we know what the result will be.
Remember, I brought you to Hartford/White River Junction, Vermont, about a month and a half ago to expose to you that the FEMA camp had taken over the rest area on the side of the interstate 91 driving northbound. Right before you get to White River Junction, Vermont, there was the FEMA camp that had set up. Well, I went there. They wouldn't let me in on either side. I ended up getting video footage from across the road. I've tried to go back since, but they've put up a big fence, and they have cones even further out now. Now, mind you, nowhere leading up to this rest area does it say government facility. Nowhere driving up to this rest area does it say nobody allowed, no trespassing. Do you want to know why? Because that area is public taxpayer funded. It always has been. So these people came in and they took over and put up these FEMA camps, these little FEMA trailers. Nobody knew why. They were supposed to be because of the flooding that happened up here in Vermont. But isn't it weird that they've never left? Nobody still needs help. It is time to go. Well, they didn't go. Not only did they not go, but they ended up building a permanent fence, a very, very high wooden structured fence so nobody could record over it again. But they have cameras in that FEMA camp pointing at the road. They've got cameras pointing out at each end since I've been there. And now they put up this fence so nobody can see in. But a local friend of ours decided he was going to do what everybody else has not done. And that is drive right by those cones and drive in there and not take no for an answer, putting himself at risk for being arrested. Now, he came to me today and he said, what do I do? And I said, what did you do? And he says, well, here. And he showed me and Eli what he did. And he said, I see you guys every day. I see you fighting every day. I saw your guys' footage when you came here. I see Eli fighting every day. I see you fighting every day. I see everybody on your network fighting every day. I'm not married. I have no kids. So I just said, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I cannot sit behind my screen anymore. So he went there. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to see, God bless this man and God bless the fact that he came to me because of the video that we did when we first went there. Please share this video out, folks. Here's video number 1. And I want you to see the sketchiness, the nervousness, and the way that this guy acted when he just drove up. This guy was shook. He did not know what to do. This was the first one.
How's it going? Good, how you doing? I got a question. What is going on around here?
Sorry?
What is going on around here?
It's just a federal facility nearby.
For what, though?
There's people coming in this way, so you need to kind of move your vehicle.
What?
Just kind of blocking you on right here.
Well, you know, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I drive by this thing every day, right? Aren't these homes for FEMA?
Yes, they are.
So how do the people supposed to get in and out of here?
I can have one of the FEMA guys come down here and talk to you if you have some questions, and they can refer you to their public affairs.
Who do you work for?
We work for them.
For who?
Speak with someone?
For who, though? Who do you work for?
For FEMA.
Ah, for FEMA.
Yeah. And you got a Canada hat. I'm just curious. Something shady feels off here.
And he's wearing a Canadian hat.
You know what I mean? Meaning, so all these homes are for FEMA and flood victims, correct?
Do you want to speak with
No,
someone?
I want to talk to you because you came up and approached me.
I can't make comments like that.
Why is that?
I don't represent FEMA.
But you work for FEMA.
Why are you so nervous right now?
I'm not nervous.
I see it.
I'm going to call someone.
Why do you got to call someone? Why do you have a gun?
Why do you have a gun?
Very shady.
Very shady. Okay, that was video number 1. The guy didn't come back, so he left. This guy is at a point where he feels like his life will be over soon if we don't stand up and do something right now. So when he came here to see me today, he was shaking like this, you guys. He was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go with this. I literally just took off. And we said, what are you talking about? And he said, well, that wasn't it. When I went home, he goes, I decided to go live on Facebook and just say, screw it, I'm going back. I did not get the answers that I went there for. This is brave, folks. This is brave. And this is courage being contagious brave, okay? So then he gets on Facebook Live and goes back. Well, ladies and gentlemen, then the cavalry comes. And not only do they go from get out of here now, they go from you can't leave, and he took off. And guess where he came? So I'm expecting a knock on the door before this show is over. Now, the one problem with this video is he's driving in his truck to go there and he's on Facebook Live. Here's the thing. He has his Bluetooth on in the truck. So when he gets out and takes the phone with him, no sound whatsoever. So he's explaining the video to me and Eli while he's shaking about what's going on. They literally tried to stop him from leaving and he just took off and he came here. Great. But people go where they know that they feel safe. People know that they need to go where people's going to get this information out. And now I don't know where he is, Eli. He just took off, right? He just said, I don't know what to do tonight, right? He's freaking out. This just happened before we went live, folks. Amongst all the other crazy things that's happening today. Roll this.
It's for these flood victims. Well, let's see how they treat me today. Let's see what's really going on, okay? You know, this was a way station. And, you know, there's no sign saying it's a facility or a government facility. You know, it is a free country, right? So let's see, rest area closed. Okay, well, I'm not going to rest, all right? I'm not going to stay here.
We don't do that in New Hampshire.
All right, let's figure this out. Rest area closed. Let's see if my buddy's here today. So this is the rest area. There's some workers here. Let's get to the bottom of this.
See how they got the cones
here we
there
go.
now?
Let's go.
So as soon as he opened the door, the Bluetooth shut off. Okay? I'm going to explain what happens here as he explained it. As he's walking up, here comes a guy with riot gear stuff on, or at least a bulletproof vest and a gun. And he's telling him, you got to get out of here. Again, the Bluetooth is off right now. There's no sound. The guy is telling him, and he said, nope, and he just kept walking. And he said, what the hell is this place? And he's videoing. At this point, the guy is telling me, you're not allowed to video here. You're not allowed to video here, sir. Get in your truck and leave. And you can see that's what he's motioning for. You need to leave here now. And he's going, no, I don't. This is public property. What are you doing? Why do you have a gun? Why are you here? And he says, if you can see right there, it says no phones, no posting. This is a government facility. Yeah, does that look like a government facility to you folks? Taped up, no phones, no guns, no audio recording, no anything. And he's like, yeah, whatever. And he's filming all of this, okay? So this guy's still telling him, you got to leave. And he's like, no, I don't have to leave. I live here. We pay taxes around here. This is a public facility that I've been driving by for years, and you're not going to tell me that I have to leave here. So now this guy's going in to call for backup, okay? And as this guy goes in to call for backup, he's going back out to his truck because he's like, I got to get the hell out of here before they box me in. This is what he's thinking. Now, I'm not going to say this guy's name. I'm sure they already got it all. They've got cameras everywhere. But I'm not going to say his name yet just for his safety, okay? But he did say put it out there because he knows that they're probably going to come after him. At this point, what did he say, Eli? A white Subaru or a white Toyota, wasn't it? Came pulling up in the front of him right there. And now all these people are telling him he can't leave. They're screaming at him, telling him he can't leave, you can't leave, you can't leave. I don't know why the sound didn't come back on if he got back in the truck there. And he just backed up and took off. This is him backing up and just taking off. Okay? He then came here to my area. I know who he is, folks, by the way. I know it's not like this is, somebody said beware of him, Jeremy. He might be a Fed. He's not a Fed. I know who he is. Okay? He's in the area.
This is in your community,
there
guys.
There he goes.
Stop turning the blind eye. Can you believe that? I'm doing this from my heart. I hope nothing happens to me. I pray to God nothing happens to me. But you see what's going on now? You know? Share this. Get the word out, all right? I have a loud mouth and I'm not afraid to use it. You guys, they're getting exposed, all right? Our government is not for us. I promise you guys. I'm gonna probably have a truck following me now. There'll be government trucks following me.
They probably followed him right here.
I'm really not sure where to go.
And I told him, give me the footage, we'll get it right out. I don't care.
I don't know where would be safe.
So he came here.
They got my plate number. You know, they filmed me. Oh, something's bad. Something bad's happening.
Yep.
I have no idea what to do, you know, at this point. Do not leave. They're trying to silence us.
Yep.
I need backup.
Yep.
Federal facility.
Yep.
It isn't what it is, guys.
No, it's
Wake
not.
up.
It's not what it is.
Let me show you something. Let me show you something. Let me show you what. There's more to this. There's so more than this. There's so more to this. So crazy. Do not leave. Federal facility. He was so nervous, just like the other guy.
Yeah, he was.
Let me get someone from FEMA.
Yeah.
You know? That is craziness, guys.
Wow.
I knew it didn't feel right, you know? I'm hoping there's enough of you to protect me now. Like I said, I don't have a wife or kids, and, you know, that was ridiculous. You know, let's see what they do, though. They'll probably take my Facebook down. They'll probably try to, you know, I know what I am. I know what I've been. You know I've been a sinner. You know, I know I did drugs. I know I drank. You know, I know they're going to try to do something to probably hurt me now for exposing them, you know. See that 4Runner, a white 4Runner?
following
comes flying up and do not leave, and they're taking pictures of my plate.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to try to hunt me down. You know? It is so crazy.
Yep.
It is so crazy. You know?
So, he came here to me. He left. He's on his way to me at this point in the video. At this point, he just said, I gotta go to Jeremy, because my video is the whole reason he's there to begin with. So he came right to my studio, didn't he, Eli? I was outside talking on the phone, trying to talk with Anna and everything else about all this stuff that's going on internally, and this guy pulls up with this. I think it's a little bit more important. This guy pulls up with this, and he says, what am I supposed to do right now? And I said, dude, you've just kicked the hornet's nest. And he's freaking out. And I said, stand up even louder, brother. Give me the stuff, and I'll put it on air tonight. He's like, aren't you afraid that they're gonna, you know? And I said, brother, I'm far past that point. I'm ready for the bullet to the head. Like, I know that's graphic, and I don't mean to say it like that. A lot of people are going to say, Jeremy, don't put this out in the universe. But I got to tell you, folks, after the FBI has harassed me, after the FBI knocked on my door, after the FBI decided to encroach on my rights, and now we've got another government facility, the Federal Emergency whatever division, they're doing it. They're taking over our land. For who? For the illegals? Bullshit.
Is an emergency broadcast. The video clip I'm about to show you is, in my view, the most important video in the world today. It's by Dr. Meryl Nass, who talks about the establishment of a de facto world government that we are a mere weeks away from. Now, we've reported on this many, many times. It is now here. It is now imminent. I encourage you to watch this clip, and afterwards, please stay tuned, because I'll tell you what exactly we can do to alter the course of this.
We're undergoing a soft coup, and the idea is to create a whole new set of laws and ignore the existing human rights laws and other laws under the pretext of pandemic preparedness and the biosecurity agenda. The WHO is developing through all its nations, but with the WHO Directorate in the United States in charge, a pandemic treaty and amendments to the existing international health regulations that will remove the human rights protections currently embedded in the IHRs, will enforce surveillance, censorship, get rid of freedom of speech, require governments to censor and only push a single narrative. Also, we will be subject, if they can make this work.
Geneva looks beautiful. It is beautiful. It has a lake, it has this shadow. It's very peaceful, but there is a dark side to it. Everything evil in the world related to democide, unfortunately, comes from Geneva. You have WHO in Geneva, you have Gavi, then you have the WEF, the World Economic Forum, which my father was a co-founder and left Klaus Schwab out of disgust in the early 80s, that has diplomatic immunity. I, as a Swiss citizen, right here now, declare that the WEF is not eligible anymore for diplomatic immunity. I call on the Swiss authorities and security to arrest those people immediately. Why? The WEF, WHO, Gavi, Big Pharma, Big Tech, Bill Gates, all advocated a global humanity injection by a bioweapon, injecting nanolipids into 5.7 billion people. And we Swiss are hosting them? That's terrible. We cannot tolerate any entity that...
We make sure that for all these vaccines, that there's enough capacity, that there's competition so the prices keep going down. And we will have new vaccines. We'll have a TB vaccine, malaria vaccine, HIV vaccine, and even the things like COVID vaccines. We need to make them have longer duration, more coverage, and we're going to change, instead of using a needle, to use a little patch. And we're going to change, instead of using a needle, to use a little patch, to use a little patch, to use a little patch. So the pandemic really highlighted that we've been underinvested in those innovations, and our partners in India are part of how we're going to get these breakthrough products done.
I know my husband is not vaccinating people and putting a microchip in their arm because that technology doesn't even exist, and he's never uttered the words out of his mouth. So,
guys, I highly recommend watching this video from start to finish. For those of you that have never heard of Bill SB 686, I'm going to break this down really quick for you, but after this video, look the bill up and read the bill thoroughly from start to finish. If this bill goes through, the Secretary of Commerce will have complete and total control over me and you and every single person in this country. The Secretary and his advisory will not have to adhere to this code. And the reason that is bad is because then everything they do, every decision they make for us, they don't have to make that public. They can just do it. And right now, by adhering to this code, they have to make every single thing they talk about, every single thing they do public. The bill talks about transactions. So anything you look at online, anything you purchase online, anything you do online, they will have access to that. Literally anything that involves the internet. They bring up foreign adversaries because they are going to put it like they are doing this for our protection. Does this sound familiar to anyone at all? If this is all about cybersecurity and data protection, then tell me in the bill, why is the only penalties against us? Penalties such as a $250,000 fine to $1 million fine, complete forfeiture of your entire house, everything you own to the United States government, and prison time. When I see videos like this,
pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack.
It makes it pretty clear to me what they plan to do. They are going to create the problem, which is a fake cyber war on us, and sell us the solution, which is this bill. This means possible entire grid shutdown. It could mean many things, but I definitely think they are going to do something along these lines. But either way, every single person needs to read this bill and get educated. There's no reason to be afraid. Know what they are doing, have food and water for your family, and just be prepared.
Okay, guys, so we have a really big problem, and I would say this is an emergency video. In the state of New York, we have a bill, Bill A416, and what this bill will allow is the governor to decide by decree that she can arrest and detain indefinitely the unvaccinated and put them into camps at will, without due process, without judge or jury. So if you're deemed a public health risk or someone who may be a public health risk, it actually uses that exact language, may be a public health risk, it allows her to just come and kidnap you and put you into a camp. And this isn't a conspiracy theory. I'll read the exact language of the bill from nysenate.gov, which I'll leave a link to in the description below, by the way, so you can go leave public commentary and contact the legislatures in New York as well if you can, and say how much you vehemently oppose this. Say it respectfully, say it professionally, for lack of a better term. But at the very least, you can go leave a comment. Anybody can. On the state website here, Assembly Bill 416. I'll just read it. I'll literally read it. It says here, 2120A, Removal and detention of cases, contacts, and carriers who are or may be a danger to public health. Other orders. 1. The provisions of this section shall be utilized in the event that the governor declares a state of health emergency due to an epidemic of any communicable disease. By the way, this doesn't just apply to COVID. They could do this for people who they suspect of having HIV. You realize that, right? For all you leftists and liberals out there, they could just round up, theoretically, and I hope YouTube AI doesn't pick this up out of context. Theoretically, the governor could round up all the gay people for suspecting of having HIV or something, and just put them into a camp. So this is, this can be used by any measure, right? It's not just for COVID. It doesn't list COVID anywhere specific in the bill. This is for anybody who's deemed a public health risk because of a communicable disease. It could be the flu. 2. Upon determining by clear and convincing evidence that the health of others is or may be endangered by a case, contact, or carrier, or suspected case, contact, or carrier of a contagious disease that, in the opinion of the governor, after consultation with the commissioner, may pose an imminent and significant threat to the public health, resulting in severe morbidity or high mortality. The governor or his or her delegee, including but not limited to the commissioner or the heads of local health departments, may order the removal and or detention of such a person or a group of people by issuing a single order identifying such persons either by name or by a reasonably specific description of the individuals or group being detained. So again, this could also be applicable to a specific community, whether it be a community based on the race of the community, the sexual creed of the community. So this goes way beyond just like, the unvaccinated, but it can be used for that too. But it also can be they could reasonably and theoretically just say, the black community is the most unvaccinated, at-risk community for COVID. So they could use that justification to say there's, that's a public health risk and round them all up, in like a neighborhood, a specific neighborhood, round them all up because they're a health risk for whatever reason by the statistics and put them into camps, guys. So, this is extremely, extremely dangerous, this bill. This is the most dangerous bill in America I've ever heard of or seen. Extremely dangerous. Remember, New York is one of the most strict gun control states, which means people aren't armed, which means the government has this mentality that they have the more of an ability to push people around. So that's what the Second Amendment is about, by the way. It's not about necessarily, it's about defending yourself from criminals, you protecting your property, etc., protecting yourself and your family, but also, and it's also about protecting yourself from corrupt government. But what it really is intended to do, what the forefathers of the U.S. intended it to do, I'm going off on a bit of a tangent, but it's important to note, it's to have that attitude and that perception of the public as being well armed, so that police and government officials and government authority acts accordingly. It's like a firewall. It's like an insurance policy. Not that it even has to be used, but the fact that it's there will make the government think twice before kicking in your door for no reason, right? It's just there to make them think twice and to create that mutual respect. We're both armed. We both see eye to eye. We're both equal. So that's what that's about. So later on in the bill in Section 12, it also states that said individuals or groups of individuals that are kidnapped and put into camps by the government by decree of the governor can be force vaccinated and medicated as well by decree of the governor. Just think about that. And it literally says that. So, quote, and this is in Section 12, to require an individual who has been exposed or infected to a contagious disease to complete an appropriate prescribed course of treatment, preventative medication, or vaccination, including directly observed therapy to treat the disease and follow infection control provisions for the disease. So that's one of the authorities it gives the government to determine just to do to you once you're kidnapped by them, to be able to force, medicate, or vaccinate you. So I'll leave a link to this bill. Extremely, extremely disconcerting. Extremely disconcerting. The most disconcerting thing I've ever seen ever in U.S. politics, ever. I don't necessarily think there is a political solution overall, but I think stopping this could go a long way. I'm not about to let Australia happen in New York State. I'm not about to let that happen. Okay? I'm going to do everything in my power to stop that. I don't even live in New York. I live in Rhode Island. But let me tell you, it's not very far away. And if this bill is passed, New York State effectively becomes Australia, if not worse. So if you want to stop this, this is where you got to, the buck stops here, right? Now, I also want to show you guys another bill. They're voting on all these bills. There's 4 other bills in New York State that they're voting on. This is all happening in the next couple weeks. All of these bills that I talk about right here are being voted on in January 2022. Bill S-6495 requires immunization of post-secondary students for COVID-19. So this is a vaccine mandate for basically all public schools and universities in New York State. On top of that, Bill A-8398, which limits the exemptions for these mandatory vaccinations at schools and universities in New York State. So this bill, Bill A-8398, gets rid of the religious exemption altogether. Extremely draconian. And this bill, S-75A, relates to adult vaccination reporting requirements, which creates a database in the state of New York that will keep track and record of everybody who's vaccinated and everybody who's unvaccinated, essentially, effectively. So this creates the database of, problematic people who are unvaccinated and the approved goodlings, right? The goodlings who are vaccinated. So a database. And then lastly, Bill A-8398. Oh, that's the one I already talked about. And lastly, Bill S-3041, which gets rid of parental consent for vaccinations and allows all children age 14, 15, 16, and 17, so as young as 14, to decide for themselves if they want to be vaccinated without the parents' consent or knowledge. Very, very draconian bills. I'll leave links for all that. Try to stop this in its tracks. Please go, especially to Bill A-416. That'll be the first link. If you have time, do the rest too. But this is the most important. I'm not about to see no camps in New York State. A lot of good people in New York. I'm not going to let that happen. You're not going to let that happen. You're going to go to nysenate.gov and leave a piece of your mind. Be respectful. Everybody can leave public comment. And I think there might be, find your senator and share your views on, find the senators, just find the senators and also write them, okay? Write them. But you can leave a public comment at the bottom of the bill too. Get as much public awareness as possible around this bill in New York State. Share this with everybody. You can stop this now. They might do it anyway, but you just got to try, right? You got to try.
touch to post to watch whenever the leading police ship. So if anyone claiming they're not doing this,